Okay, in today's lesson, we are going to complete the unit circle chart. So we're going to start off by, let's take a look at the whole thing. All right, so here is your full unit circle chart. We have quadrant 1, 2, 3, 4. We have all the degrees. We're going to fill out the radians, and we're going to complete the coordinates or the ordered pairs of all the intersection of the angles in standard position with the unit circle. Let's go ahead and start with the quadrant. So in quadrant 1, if you remember, all students take calculus. All the trig functions are positive here. In quadrant 2, and when I say sine, cosine, and tangent are positive, I also mean the inverses, cosecant, secant, and cotangent. In quadrant 2, since it's all students take calculus, the trig function that starts with the letter S is the positive ones. That's sine. So the other ones are negative. All right, let's move on down and take a look at the third quadrant. In the third quadrant, tangent is positive, the others are negative. And in the fourth quadrant, cosine is positive and sine and tangent are negative. Now let's go around the unit circle and complete all of the degrees. So obviously the very first starting point is 0 degrees, okay? And I'm going to go to my compass places, which I say compass because I have north, south, east, and west. So up here is obviously 90 degrees, okay? Half a circle is 180 degrees, and down south here is 270 degrees. Now when you come back around and make a full circle, you've completed 360 degrees. Okay, next I would like to take a look at the 45-degree increments, okay? So that's basically halfway between 0 and 90. So here's 45 degrees. Over here is 135 degrees because 90 plus 45 is 135. Down in quadrant 3, we have 180 plus 45 is 225. And over here we have 45 degrees plus 270 is 315. This is what we call the medium bow tie, and I'm going to go ahead and highlight this, all right, just like that. So we're going to highlight here, and we're going to move down into the lower quadrant so we can go ahead and highlight the medium bow tie. As you can see, it's all the 45-degree increments, and notice that all the degrees end in 5. Right, 225, 315, 135, and 45. All right, now we're going to take a look at the 30-degree increments. So here we have 30 degrees here. Over on this side, we have 150 degrees because it's 30 degrees from the x-axis, right? 180 minus 30 is 150. Down here, we have 180 plus 30 is 210, and then 360 minus 30 is 330 degrees. So this would be the flatter bow tie. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight this one with a different color. We'll go with pink, and there we have that. Connect that there. And down over here, we'll go ahead and continue our line. So that is the flatter bow tie. All right, I'm going to go ahead and highlight the last bow tie. This is the taller bow tie. We'll go ahead and, this is our 60-degree increment. I'm going to go ahead and highlight it first before we start showing what the degrees are. So there we have that one, and there we have this one. All right, so now we have the taller bow tie, and just as you suspect, in quadrant 1, it is 60 degrees. Over here it's 90 plus 30 more to give me 120. Okay, down over here we have 240 degrees because, like I said, it's 60-degree increments, so 180 plus 60 is 240. And then over here we have 300 degrees. All right, now we have all the degrees complete. It is time to find the radians. So we're going to go ahead and start in the same order. 0 degrees is 0 radians, right? If you remember to convert from degrees to radians, you multiply by pi over 180, and the degrees cancel out. You're left with pi radians. So now that we have that done, we're going to go over to 180 degrees, which we just said is the same as pi radians. Now, because this is pi radians, from 0 to pi radians, what's halfway? Well, it's 1/2 pi radians. And we write it down like this, pi over 2 radians. So north is pi over 2 radians, and down south it is 3 pi over 2 radians. So now we have all of our compass angles done, north, south, east, and west. Almost forgot 360 degrees is 2 pi radians. So now let's go in the same order. We're going to do 45-degree increments. So if we have pi over 2 radians is 90 degrees, then what is halfway of half pi radians? Well, half of half is a quarter. So naturally we have 1/4 pi, also known as pi over 4. So this is 1/4 pi, this is 2/4 pi, right? 2/4 reduces to 1/2. Then this would be 3/4 pi, also known as 3 pi over 4. Moving down over here, we have 4/4 pi. 4 over 4 reduces to 1, that's why we have 1 pi. Here's 5/4 pi, 5 pi over 4. 6 pi over 4 reduces to 3/2 pi. And over here we have 7 pi over 4. Okay, the medium bow tie is done for radians. Now let's look at 30 degrees. And as a matter of fact, we'll just go around and do all the missing radians. So if you think of it like this, from 30 degrees to 60 degrees, think of it like you're taking this half a circle, which we know is pi radians, and we're slicing it up into 6 equal sections: 30, 60, 90, 120, 150, 180. These are all 30-degree increments, 30-degree slices. So each one of these, there's 6 of them, and therefore they are all 1/6 of a pi, 1/6 pi radians. So naturally this would be 1/6 pi, or pi over 6. This would be 2/6 pi, and 2/6 reduces to 1/3, so we have pi over 3. 3/6 reduces to 1/2. 4/6 reduces to 2/3 pi. 5/6 cannot be reduced, so we leave it like 5 pi over 6. And 6/6 is 1 pi. This one here would be 7 pi over 6, right? If you notice, the denominator is always 6, and the numerator you just keep adding 1 to it as you go around the unit circles. This is 7 pi over 6. This would be 8 pi over 6, but we want to reduce the fraction, so it's 4 pi over 3. All right, 8 pi over 6. 9 pi over 6 reduces to 3/2. 10 pi over 6 reduces to 5/3 pi. And finally, 11 pi over 6. And that completes all of the radian. Okay, last thing we have to do to complete the unit circle chart is to find the ordered pairs of each of these angles, the terminal side of the angle. So, starting at 0, let's go ahead and do the compass angles first. So 0, if you think of this unit circle as sitting on a Cartesian coordinate plane, naturally we know that starting at the origin, where it's 0, 0, over here would be 1, 0, because you're going over 1 unit and up or down 0 units. So up here at north we have 0, 1. Here we have -1, 0. And down south we have 0, -1. Okay, I want you to think back to 45, 45, 90 special right triangles. And you'll understand why in just a minute. So here we have our hypotenuse is 1, and if you remember, the relationship is whatever the legs are, it's x squared root of 2. But because we know what the hypotenuse is, we want to go backwards, we have to divide by square root of 2. So 1 divided by square root of 2 needs to be rationalized, and therefore the legs are both radical 2 over 2. So here we have square root of 2 over 2, square root of 2 over 2. Now hold that thought for a moment. So as we look at the medium-sized bow tie, every one of these angles basically creates a 45, 45, 90 right triangle. So I'm going to go ahead and connect that over to here, connect this over to here. You don't have to draw this, but as you can see, this is a 45, 45, 90 right triangle with the hypotenuse of 1. And because the hypotenuse is 1, we can just literally say, oh, okay, this is square root of 2 over 2, and this leg is square root of 2 over 2. So in other words, the x and the y coordinate is radical 2 over 2. And if you remember, this is cosine of 45 degrees, and this is sine of 45 degrees. So now that we know it's radical 2 over 2 for both the x and the y coordinate, we just follow the medium bow tie, and every single one of these will be radical 2 over 2. You have to adjust the sign depending on the quadrant. So down over here, it's radical 2 over 2, but both of them are negative. And in the quadrant 4, only the y value is negative, but it's the same fraction, radical 2 over 2. Now let's investigate 30 degrees. This over here, this is going to create a 30, 60, 90 right triangle. So I'm going to go ahead and connect this down to here and extend this over here. And as you can see, this is a 30, 60, 90 right triangle with 30 degrees here, 60 degrees here, and the hypotenuse is 1. This is the radius. So because this is 1, we know that the shorter leg is half of the hypotenuse, so this has to be 1/2. Circle that. And we know that this longer leg is square root of 3 over 2. And because we know that, this is now going to be the x value, and this is going to be the y value for this ordered pair. And therefore, we have radical 3 over 2 and 1/2. And now all you have to do is go and follow the flatter ribbon, and every single one of these, the flatter bow tie, sorry, every single one of these is going to be the same ordered pair, radical 3 over 2, comma 1/2, except you have to adjust the sign for the quadrant. So go down here to quadrant 3, both of them will be negative, and in quadrant 4, only the y value is negative. Okay, finally, let's take a look at the 60-degree angle. Now, the 60-degree angle also creates a 30, 60, 90 right triangle. But this time, 60 degrees is here by the origin, and 30 degrees is up here. So you're going to end up with basically the swap of x, y. Instead of radical 3 over 2, 1/2, it's going to be 1/2 radical 3 over 2. And if you ever forget which one is which, think to yourself, okay, 1/2 is 0.5, and radical 3 over 2 is about 0.87. So you know that radical 3 over 2 is the longer leg. So as you take a look, you think to yourself, okay, this is the x value, it's shorter, so this has got to be 1/2. So 1/2 goes first. And then the y value is the longer leg, radical 3 over 2, because 0.87 is larger than 0.5. So just like we did with the other bow ties, we just follow the taller bow tie, and you say to yourself, okay, it's going to be the same fractions, the same ordered pair, except you adjust for the sign. Down over here, same thing, except both are negative. And finally, over here, we have only the y value is negative in quadrant 4. So ladies and gentlemen, here is your full completed unit circle chart. This needs to be memorized. And here we have it full screen. Good luck to you.